You're watching WDAM 7 News, First Alert Weather Day.
And we're going to begin with a traffic alert for USM. Sections of Southern Miss Drive, that's the street that runs in the front of campus, will be closed for repairs today. School leaders say, weather permitting, the work should be done by this afternoon. Good morning and thanks for waking up with us on this Tuesday. Our First Alert Weather team declares today a First Alert Weather Day in preparation of Tropical Storm Gordon. Meteorologist Patrick Bigby alongside me here with the latest on the track. At this point, are we still seeing kind of those heavy rain, lots of rain?
Yeah.
Possibility of maybe some tornadoes, maybe a Category 1 strength.
Yeah, nothing has really changed during the overnight hours. So when you went to bed last night and you're waking up this morning, there's not been really a lot of big changes with the forecast during the overnight hours. So we're still expecting it to be a Cat 1 at landfall. We're still expecting some gusty winds here up to 70 miles an hour during the overnight hours. And we're still expecting the possibility of a few tornadoes during the overnight hours. But if you got to do anything this morning or this afternoon, if you got to go to work or your kids got to go to school, they're going to be okay. So you don't have to worry about that. This right here is a live look at USM, the Mississippi Power Skycam on campus. 73 degrees out there at the moment. We got low clouds this morning and temperatures are sitting into the 70s all across the Pine Belt. Nothing on radar this morning, but we are still tracking Tropical Storm Gordon. It's now up to 65 miles an hour. It is expected to become a Category 1 hurricane later this morning, and it has intensified a little bit during the overnight hours. Right now, about 200 miles south of Panama City or 230 miles east-southeast of the mouth of the Mississippi River. Tropical storm warnings are in effect for the good chunk of the Pine Belt along and south of the US 98 corridor, with hurricane warnings down towards the south. Now, coming up in a few minutes, we'll take a full look at what you can expect hour by hour and when things will go downhill.
And of course, now is the time to make sure you are ready. And Patrick called up with the National Weather Service to see what you need to do to be prepared.
All eyes are on the Gulf as Tropical Storm Gordon approaches the Pine Belt. And now is the time to prepare. One of the most important things you can do to be ready is to have a hurricane preparedness kit. So what items should be included in your kit? We asked the National Weather Service to find out.
Water, at least 1 gallon a day per person for 7 to 10 days.
So just exactly how much water is that? Well, to put it in perspective, a family of 4 should have 40 gallons to last 10 days. And this is what 40 gallons looks like.
You want to have food for at least 3 to 7 days, and these are non-perishable, packaged, canned foods. You also want to have things like first aid kits, toiletries. Just think about things that you will want to have on hand in case you can't get to the store. Stores are out of power. Flashlights, batteries, a battery-operated radio, cash, because ATMs and credit card machines may not be working.
Making sure your car is ready is also very important.
You want to make sure that your car is full of gas. During Hurricane Katrina, there were long gas lines.
And also don't forget to grab any prescriptions, food and toys for your pets, and any other items you may need to care for babies or elderly members of your family. By doing this and preparing now, you'll be ready to face anything this system has to offer.
And now to a flood alert out of Hattiesburg. Blair continues our team coverage from the Alert Center this morning. How you doing, Blair?
Michael, while Gordon's impact is expected to be the biggest on the Gulf Coast, the conditions may cause some areas at USM and around Hattiesburg to be a little bit harder to drive through. So locations at USM where flooding happens could cause damage to cars in the areas around Pine Haven Circle, near Sorority Village, Montague Boulevard, 4th Street, and many more. And USM says students on campus can get updates through the university's Eagle Alert system, and that also notifies members of the university about a school closure or if those classes are canceled. To see the full list of the flood areas, visit our website at WDAM.com. Back to you.
Blair, thanks. And some Pine Belt schools and colleges will be changing up their schedule because of the storm. The University of Southern Mississippi will close its main campus at 6:30 this evening. All branches of Pearl River Community College will close at noon and will stay closed until 8 o'clock Wednesday morning. PRCC's soccer game set for tonight is postponed. The Stone County School District will dismiss classes at 12:30 today. Lamar County, Hattiesburg, and Petal school districts will run a normal schedule, but all after-school activities are canceled for Lamar County and Petal. Perry County and Richton will also run a normal schedule. We, of course, will continue to update and add to this schedule online at WDAM.com, as well as on our WDAM 7 News app, so make sure you download that. The State Emergency Management Agency is in action this morning. The department started out with a virtual activation of the emergency operations yesterday. Now more folks are ready to step in as Gordon gets closer. Courtney and Jackson explains.
With weather rolling in, state officials are gearing up for Gordon.
It's better to over-prepare than not have things ready at a moment's notice. So for us, if we're wrong, we're wrong. You know, that just means we had a good opportunity to test, you know, and see what we're good at and what we're not so good at. But for us, we just want to be ready.
Ready will look different as the storm gets closer. For now, it means sending MEMA personnel to the coastal counties and helping with sandbag supplies and getting information out to everyone with each renewed update from the Weather Service.
My worry is that people may get hurricane amnesia, or they feel like, oh, you know, last year wasn't so bad. So my thing is, hey, again, no two storms are alike. Just because you made it through, you know, Hurricane Nate last year doesn't mean that this one will be the same.
They're also asking that you don't get too stuck on these pictures of the forecast track.
Even though you may be outside of that cone, you can still see the effects of it, whether it be heavy rain, localized flooding, and gusty winds.
MEMA says the greatest threat is heavy rainfall and flooding, along with hurricane-force winds, which will impact much of South Mississippi, and 3 to 5 feet of storm surge. If you don't live along the coast, still keep an eye on the forecast.
Be mindful of it. You know, when it's over, we can all take a sigh of relief, but in the meantime, just be ready.
Folks from other state agencies and nonprofits will be arriving at the Emergency Operations Center later this morning. City leaders in the hub city are taking extra precaution when it comes to ensuring safety. Our Quamitra Wilborn joins us live in Hattiesburg with what's happening. Quamitra, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. Well, I'm here in Walmart on Highway 49 in Hattiesburg, and I'm getting my hurricane preparedness kit ready. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the earlier the better. You can find a full list of everything you need on our website at WDAM.com. A few things that I'm picking up is a flashlight and batteries. That's just a few things that you need to have in your kit. But the city of Hattiesburg is also working to make sure residents are prepared for the storm as well. Starting at 8 a.m. this morning, sandbags will be available at Fire Station number 1 on North Main Street. This morning, all public crews will also be moving to clear drains, top off fuel supplies, and prepare debris removal equipment. Water stations and lift stations will also be available as well. Make sure to stay tuned in to WDAM to find out more for what you need to know on how to stay prepared for this storm. Live in Hattiesburg, Quamitra Wilborn, WDAM on your side.
Thank you, Quamitra. Well, a hurricane warning in place right now for the Gulf Coast. Boat owners at harbors and Gulfport scramble to evacuate their vessels. Gulfport issued a mandatory evacuation order and other cities followed suit. The marinas are busy with people who say better safe than sorry.
Boats began pulling out of the Gulfport Marina moments after the city issued a mandatory evacuation order.
This area floods with anything over the 4-foot storm surge. The last one, the water was about this high up over the pylons. It's just not a safe place to be.
The harbor master in Gulfport takes the mandate seriously.
We will probably and most certainly have some boat owners who either can't or won't. More likely can't, just for a variety of reasons. They may be out of town somewhere else. So, but at the end of the day, there is an ordinance for the city of Gulfport that states it could be a $1,000 per day fine for the duration of the evacuation if the boat remains within the basin. And it could also go down as a misdemeanor on their record, and it could end up in eviction from the marina for future dockage year.
Harbors and marinas are particularly vulnerable with tropical winds and storm surge barreling in.
What would you say to boat owners about the importance of making sure they evacuate when something like this happens rather than just blowing it off?
Well, the boat's an investment. How much do they like it?
Past tropical systems have created considerable damage at the Gulfport Marina, encouraging boat owners to take every precaution. At the Long Beach Harbor, people are tying down their boats and in some cases taking the vessels to safe harbor.
Well, I started thinking this morning I'm going to have to move my boat. If there's going to be a tidal surge where I can damage my boat or damage the pier.
Tropical Storm Gordon is being fueled by uncertainty but potentially destructive conditions. Boat owners want to protect their investments and make sure an old adage applies to their action plan.
Better safe than sorry, always.
Well, Gulfport passed the evacuation ordinance after Hurricane Nate hit the coast last year. That storm did considerable damage to the marina, and the city wants to protect its multi-million-dollar investment. Emergency managers in New Orleans want people to be ready for days of heavy rain. Now, they say pumps are at 97% capacity, but they've made improvements since August of last year, when the city experienced devastating floods.
Because of the combined threat of existing coastal flooding and the increased surge from Gordon, I'm asking residents outside of the levee protection system to exercise extreme caution. At this time, I'm also issuing a voluntary evacuation order only for areas outside of the levee system, which includes Venetian Isle, Lake Catherine, and Irish Bayou.
The city is working to clean out catch basins, and they're asking New Orleans residents to prepare for that heavy rain and those high winds.
And of course, always be sure to download the WDAM 7 First Alert weather app if you don't have it. This way you can track storms anytime, anywhere across the Pine Belt. Coming up, an uproar over a new movie about the first man on the moon.
And here's a live look at your traffic right now. This is Highway 49 near 4th Street right there in front of USM. No problems to report to you right now. Don't forget, we are streaming live on WDAM.com and on our WDAM 7 News app.
And we got a pretty high chance of seeing tropical storm force winds overnight. The model from the Hurricane Center is showing us near 80%. Now coming up, we'll talk about when exactly our weather will go downhill right after the break.